Welcome. Today we're going to have a conversation about how to break the code of communication in your marriage so you can feel more connected. So I'll be putting this video out for you there on the Facebook group. So just comment below, let me know where you're at, where you're coming from. And I want to ask a question to start this off. So, what is communication? What's your definition of communication? Put that in the comments. I want you to really think about, what does communication mean to you? The first thing we have to learn to be able to know how to communicate is what does communication mean to us? And Webster's definition is the successful sharing of ideas and feelings. So that's what the Webster dictionary says, that it's the successful sharing of ideas and feelings. So how successful would you rate yourself in your marriage, 1 to 10? Put it in the comments, put it in the chat and in the comments. How successful would you rate yourself, 1 to 10, of being able to successfully share your ideas and feelings with your partner? And that's a two-way street as well. So first, 1 to 10, how well are you at sharing those ideas and feelings successfully? And the second part is, how well are you at hearing your partner's ideas and feelings? So just put that in the chat. And I want to talk about what makes communication so difficult. I think, how many of us are pretty terrible at sharing our ideas and feelings? I know I was for a long time. And it's a challenge. You get two people together that don't just quite know how to share their ideas and feelings and articulate those and communicate those in a way that's compelling for the other person to hear it. Or if you have one or both people who are stuck in a not being able to hear or the not listening mode, that's also a big challenge that comes up a lot. And maybe that's coming up in your relationship. Maybe that's coming up in your marriage. So what is it that makes it so difficult when we try to communicate and we say one thing and our partner hears another, or they say something and we hear another? So what's that all about? Well, there's a couple things that are happening there. One of the things that makes it really difficult is our past experiences. Do you have past experiences with this person, or even before we got married? We can have past experiences that lead us to not know how to communicate. Maybe early on in our lives, we were in a situation where we tried to communicate our needs and they weren't met. Or maybe we were in a situation where we did communicate our needs and they were met for a while and then they weren't. And one of the biggest things that I want to talk about today is how our emotions really play a big role in communicating. So tell me this, when you're in a place of anger, how good are you at communicating? 1 to 10, 10 being you're really great at communicating when you're angry and you say everything you mean and you mean everything you say, and the words that come out are really beneficial to the outcome that you really want. So 1 to 10. I'm going to guess you're probably 10 being when you're angry and emotional, 10 being it works really well. I would say you're probably more at a 1. So somebody said 3. That Sue said 3. Yeah, that's pretty low on the list. When you're angry, communication becomes really, really difficult. And this is one of the biggest challenges with communication is our emotions. As soon as we get triggered, we get angry. Have you ever got angry whenever you're communicating in your relationship? And how hard has that made it to be able to really get the thing that you want? And actually, our emotions, when it comes up, these angry emotions actually makes it more difficult for us to get the very thing we want. Because say we get angry because our partner isn't doing something we want. Maybe they're not doing chores around the house. Maybe they're not giving us attention. Maybe they're not talking to us. Maybe they're not communicating, and we're angry about that. We want them to talk to us. So we get angry and say, I'll show you. So this actually makes it more, if you yell, we all know this. This is common knowledge. We know if you were at work and your boss came to you and you didn't do something and they yelled at you, how likely would you want to be to do that job? 1 to 10, 10 being, yeah, I'd really love to, and 1 being not at all. You're probably around a 1. If your boss comes to you and says, you're going to do this, or I'm going to be angry and I'm going to stomp around, we all know that in that kind of situation, it doesn't work. But in our closest relationships, sometimes we don't have the ability to be able to see that. And this is one of the challenges with communication. This comes up a lot. We have these past experiences, they come up all the time. And until we find some help to get over that can continue to be a challenge in our relationships, in our marriage, in our closest connections that we have. The communication can be really, really difficult. So another example of what comes up and what makes communication difficult is that we all experience the world in a different way. Sometimes we can hear something and another party will hear something totally different. And actually, I have examples of that, and I want to play that here for you today. And this is we got about another 15 minutes or so. This isn't going to go over 20 minutes. I just wanted to come here today and talk a little bit about communication. And if you need some help with learning how to better communicate, you need a mediator, somebody to come in and help you overcome this conflict that you're going through in your marriage and you're just not sure what to do. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you with that whenever you're ready. So reach out, send me a message, send me a DM, and we'll talk about what that looks like. So let's see, let me get this recording for you so you can hear this. I want you to listen to this and tell me. What do you hear? Yanni? Laurel? Gary? Jerry? Laura? Write in the comments what you hear. I have played that sound in a group of about 15 to 20 people. And in that group, we've had 6 different people have said 6 different things. One person says, well, I hear Larry. And another person says, well, I hear Jerry. And another person says, well, I hear Yanni. And here I'm getting a comment from Sue saying she hears Yeti. And that's the first time that I've heard that. But there's Yeti. So there's this is a part of the challenge with our communication as well, is you hear Yanni, I hear Laurel, Sue hears Yeti, somebody else hears Gary, and we're all trying to talk about, hey, did you hear that Yeti? And the other person says, well, no, I didn't hear Yeti. I didn't hear anything about Yeti. What are you talking about? And then this is one of the big challenges that comes up when we communicate, is that we all are experiencing the world in the way that when the information comes in, we're all experiencing it differently. So communication is the successful sharing of ideas and feelings. Now, if you have an idea that said Yeti, and I have an idea that it said Laurel, because I hear clearly when I listen to that, it says Laurel, Laurel, Laurel. And it's very clear to me. But to you, like Sue said there, she said it sounded like Yeti to her. So this is what happens, is we start to talk about Laurel and the other person has no idea what we mean when we say Laurel because they heard Yeti. And this is a big challenge in relationships. And that's why it's always great to have a third party that's able to translate. And really that's what I do, is help people translate what they're going through, and to help the other person see what the other person's really saying. Because what we hear when people communicate a lot of times is not what they're saying. And especially with those closest to us, it's hardest to hear. And I'd love to work with you to help you learn how to communicate better in your relationship, so you can really build the marriage and the relationship that you want. That's what I'm here for. And I'd love to talk to you about that. So reach out, send me a PM, a DM. So write in the comments there what you heard. And then if you can look that up online, and you can even use that with your partner, with your spouse, to see what they hear. It's called Yanny and Laurel. You can look it up on Google search, and then play that sound and see what they hear, and see if they hear something different than you do. Because chances are a lot of people hear a different sound whenever they hear that. And it's a good reminder that sometimes it's hard to really communicate with those closest to us, because they're experiencing the world in a totally different way than we are. And the key to being better at communication and getting that connection is learning, what is it that they really hear? What is it that they're really experiencing? And that's the challenge, is getting from a place of, well, they don't hear me, to getting to a place of, how can I hear what is going on for them? How can I experience what's going on for them? Because if you're here, it's likely you're the only one that can change your relationship in this moment, because you're here listening. You're the one, you're interested in learning what you need to learn to change your relationship and your marriage for the better forever. So you're here getting that information. So that's what I'm here for. I wanted to share that with you today. That's just a little tidbit of something that I thought would be a nice something for you to practice. Get that Yanny and Laurel, look it up, share it with your partner, and see what they hear. So if you have any questions or comments about this, please reach out to me. It's been a pleasure. Again, my name is Robert Twine. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, you're ready for support, reach out. Thanks for being here, and have a great day.